Marble here. Welcome back to another stream. So, I was meant to do this stream yesterday, and I went as far as the thumbnail, the title, and then for whatever reason, I just got sidetracked into doing other things, and then the hours went by, and I'd never done this stream. So, we're going to do it now, and it's the aftermath of the family rave at the weekend, and it is also an announcement about a guest podcast. So I'm going on to a podcast stroke. I've kind of been on a podcast, and you will be able to listen to that on Sunday. So we'll get into all of that and probably much more in this stream. So the family rave, what can I say about the family rave other than for me it was probably one of my most enjoyable sort of like kids raves, family raves that I've done. So I think set wise, the set was one of my favourite sets. Or I think it was my favourite set that I've ever played at like a kids rave, like a kids event. Everything just kind of went really well, and everything just kind of went right, and the whole vibe of the set with the layman hosting me just seemed to go really well. It just seemed to really just happen, and that was really good. So that obviously happened, and it was really enjoyable. So I think crowd wise, the Rave Kids in Hull is the one that takes the top points for that, like just the atmosphere and the crowd at the Rave Kids one. But the in terms of like the set I played has got to be like this family rave that we did in Bridlington. So it was really enjoyable. It was really heartwarming to see like when we came off from doing the set, like how many people was like, like they thanked us for the set, and like you did a really good job, and shook our hands, and like, oh, you was absolutely awesome up there, which is really nice, to know that you've done a good job when you've got people out of the crowd, the audience, whatever you want to call it, sort of saying, look, you played a good set, you've done well, when they've obviously enjoyed the set as well. And before we went on to the set, the DJ before us, it was like we've got special guest DJs, and it was just kind of heartwarming that we've come here and we're kind of like special guests, and it was a really enjoyable moment that I just will probably cherish forever, and I had such an amazing time, and it was just a shed load of fun. And what I like about going there as well is you're well looked after, which is really nice. And I mean, I don't want to take pity on like places I've played in the past, but you go to some places you played, in the past, and you have to ask for things that really, honestly, you shouldn't really have to ask for. Just simple things like a drink, for example. And so we go there on Sunday. Big shout, big respect to Donald. So we go there on Sunday, and it's just like instantly like, do you want a drink? And you don't have to ask, and and they get you a drink. And you go to some places, and you kind of stood there, and you're DJing for ages, and you're hot and you're sweaty, and you could do with a drink, and you're playing for them, and like I don't drink, and neither does the layman, so we just get a soft drink. So the least like a promoter could do is like get a coke in, and like so some people don't, but you go there and it was just instantly like, do you want a drink? And then you come off the stage, and would you like a drink? And it's just a really good vibe, and it's a really good feeling, and I'm really really sort of happy with how everybody sort of reacted to our set and stuff. So it was a really good vibe, and there will be another family rave, and I think we will be back for it. So the guy who owns the event, he did say on the microphone, we'll see them next time. So I can only imagine that they want us back, which is, that's obviously a really good thing. Well done, thank you. But yeah, it was a really fun, enjoyable vibe, and I actually really, really loved it. Played some absolute belters. So, big shout to R3. Big respect to Lucas. Big shout. So that's the family rave out of the way. Really good vibe. So, guest mixing on a podcast. So this is something that I completely forgot about. This is something that I do that many different things that I just completely forgot about this. So probably I'm trying to think back to when it would even be now. This is kind of how mad it is. I think it might have even dated back to sort of like I think it was May. I think it was the 4th of May, or something like that. And I had a booking in Stoke-on-Trent for an event called Bounce to Infinity. And while I was at that gig, there was a guy who ventured into the second room, and he more or less stayed for my whole entire set. And I did a 2 hour set, and he was more or less there for the whole entire thing. And anyway, to cut the story short, he had a word with me after the set and said, "Look, I run a podcast. You did a really good set. I'd like you to, come and be a guest mix on this podcast. Message me for more information." So I think the day after the event, I messaged the guy and I was like, look, I'm just, you said about guest mixing on a podcast. What's the score? More information. And he said, look, yeah, I still want to get you on, but it won't be till like August time or something like that. So by that point, it was over 10 weeks away. There was a long time before it was due to take place. So obviously time just goes by, and you do one thing and then you do another thing, and then before you know it, a few weeks have gone by, and you forget. And anyway, I got a message probably about a week and a half ago with a reminder about the podcast, like, oh, the date's coming up for the podcast. And me being me, I thought, oh shit, like I've got to go down to Stoke-on-Trent and be interviewed for this podcast. And so I was kind of panicking, like, oh shit, And then the date it was saying to do the podcast, I was thinking, I've got a booking that day now. And all these things were going through my head. And anyway, it turns out that he could do it like over the phone. So that was like a really, really good thing. So he sent me like a little document, and it had like questions that he's going to ask me and stuff. And then I just had to send him like pictures and bios, and then I just had to send him over like a 30-minute guest mix. So I did a 30-minute guest mix and stuff like that. So this Sunday I will be going on to the Can't Mix Won't Mix podcast with a guy called Timothy. I think he just goes as Tim on the podcast. So there's a little mix from him, and then he calls up myself. So he goes into the VIP box, and he calls me up. And that's what we recorded yesterday. So yesterday we recorded where he asks me the questions, and we did the interview. And then he does my guest mix, and then my guest mix will play. And then after my guest mix, he comes back very quickly just to ask people where they can find me on social medias, like if they want to book me or anything like that, and stuff like that. So it was a really fun little podcast to be on. I didn't really have to do much other than just like take a phone call and answer a few questions, and the rest of it was more just like send stuff over through the internet, like bios and pictures. But this Sunday the episode comes out, and I'll be sharing it about. and it will be absolutely fantastic to have a little bit of a listen. And there's been some good guests in the past, such as like Kid Dynamo, and some really good hard house heads and stuff like that. And I'm really looking forward to listening to the episode and seeing what the episode will sound like, and seeing how I sound on the episode, and it'll be a really cool thing. So it was something I completely forgot about, and then it crept up, and then I was like, yeah, let's do it still. And it's just really nice, and it's just another way for somebody to maybe discover me. So I'll be, so you know, they can hear me. I do a little interview on that podcast, and it'll be really good. What's up, brother? What the Sigma? Shout out to the guy who made me a little bit nervous. What the hell? So yeah, that's gonna be a shed load of fun. So Kids Rave podcast, absolutely wicked vibes all the way through. Big ups to Danny for booking me for the Kids Rave. Big up for Timothy for having me onto the podcast. It's an absolute pleasure. So this weekend there is no rest for the wicked. We have not one, but we have two bookings. So on Friday I'm going all the way up to Spennymoor. So Spennymoor is they're putting an event on called Battle of the Genres, and they've got things like house music, they've got like hip hop, they've got bounce, they've got Makina, so there's like different sets all through the night. Ravers coming in, people coming in to listen to the rap performances, and anyway, I'm going all the way up. So the guy Little K, an amazing MC himself, he booked me earlier on in the year, and sadly there was I had an issue with travel. So my friend who I go to a lot of gigs with, he was originally going to take me to the last one, and then unfortunately he got booked. And obviously when he gets booked, he obviously has to take bookings. It's his line of work. So obviously I completely understand that. And then my other driver, who was originally going to come with me, came down with an illness, and he couldn't make it because he was ill. He was bedridden, and the town Spennymoor, for whatever reason, they got rid of their train station. They thought, you know what, we don't need a train station. So there isn't a train station in Spennymoor. So it was a case of you would have to go like to one town, and then you'd have to get a bus from that town, sort of like to Spennymoor, and then you'd have to find somewhere to stay over, and then it just becomes a whole, what was from someone's just going to give me a lift, sort of a couple of hours on the road there, and then a couple of hours on the road back. But this time, my good friend the layman is free. We are going to do the gig together, and it's going to be a shed load of fun. So I'm looking forward to doing that, and then hopefully we will absolutely destroy the vibe, and we'll bring a good vibe. So I've got to put a little set together this week. I'm working with an MC who I think likes to go in and spit. I don't know the MC too well, but I know of him. I'll be sort of encountering that he's going to spit quite a few lyrics and stuff like that. So I'm not going to go too vocally. There'll be a few vocal tracks in there because you've got to do it for crowd purposes. But I will let the guy just sort of like come in and have a little bit of a spit as well, and take things from there. So that's going to be good. And then on Sunday, we're back in Cleethorpes for Ultimate Bounce. It's a 16-hour rave. I'm in the inside room at 3 p.m. Playing a bounce set, and that's going to be a shed load of fun as well. So make sure you go and check out both them events on my Facebook, Ashley Noble, and find out, get tickets, head up to these events. I think the one on Friday is a free entry in the Quinns Inn in Spennymoor, so you can get yourself into that one for free if you are in the northeast area. And you need tickets for the one on Sunday, and all the early bird tickets have sold out. The second release tickets, or first release after the early birds, they are on sale, but they're selling quickly, so make sure you go and grab them. Get yourself in for what is going to be one hell of a party on Sunday. So make sure to like, make sure to comment, share, and we'll see you soon.